In this video, you will know about the best multi-cap fund in 2023 for investment, and for that, we will be analyzing top 5 multi-cap fund based on 4 parameters: risk, returns, ratings and expense ratio. And then we will find out which multi-cap fund should be there in your portfolio. And before we move ahead, I would like to brief about multi-cap funds. In multi-cap funds, there is a mandatory allocation of 25% each in large cap, mid cap and small cap. So all the 3 market caps are getting covered in single multi-cap fund. And without further delay, let's start with our analysis part. And firstly, we will see the return analysis. And in return analysis, firstly, we will look at historical returns of this top 5 multi-cap fund, and we are going to find out which fund has done consistently well throughout the years. And based on the performance of past 5-year historical returns of this top 5 multi-cap fund, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 2 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 5th we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund. Next we are going to look at the annualized return of this top 5 multi-cap fund from year 2017 till year 2022, and here we are going to see which fund has done consistently well in calendar year returns. Based on the performance of past 6-year annualized return, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 2 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 5th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund. And the last thing in the return analysis, we are going to see the past 5 years absolute SIP returns of this top 5 multi-cap fund, and here we are going to see which fund is doing consistently well throughout the years. And here in absolute SIP returns based on past 5 years performance, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 2 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 5th we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund. So after return analysis, we will move to risk analysis, and in risk analysis, firstly we will see the standard deviation of this top 5 multi-cap fund, and lower the value of standard deviation is better for the fund, and standard deviation tells us the volatility of the fund. So let's see which fund is the least volatile. On the parameters of standard deviation, on number 1 we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 2 we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have Quant Active Fund, and on number 5th we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund. Next in risk analysis, we are going to look at the beta of this fund, and beta tells us that what is the probability that fund is going to continue its performance in future also, and lower the value of beta is better for the fund. And on parameters of beta, on number 1 we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 2 we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 4th we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 5th we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund. Next in risk analysis, we are going to look at the Sharpe ratio of this fund, and Sharpe ratio tells us that how much return the fund is generating over the risk it has taken, and higher the value here is better for the fund. And on parameters of Sharpe ratio, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 2 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 5th we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund. And last in risk analysis, we are going to look at the alpha of these funds, and alpha tells us that how much excess return the fund has generated over its benchmark, and higher the value here is better for the fund. On parameter of alpha, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund, on number 2 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, on number 3 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, on number 4th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 5th we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund. And next we are going to move to our third parameter. Here we are going to see that how different rating agencies such as Value Research, CRISIL and Morningstar has rated these funds. And here we can see that all these top 5 multi-cap fund is unrated by Value Research. So based on the ratings given by CRISIL and Morningstar, we are going to judge this fund. And on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund. CRISIL has given 5 star to this fund, and Morningstar has also given 5 star to this fund. And on number 2 we have Mahindra Manulife Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 3 we have Nippon India Multi-Cap Fund, and on number 4th we have ICICI Prudential Multi-Cap Fund, and finally at number 5th we have Invesco India Multi-Cap Fund in ratings. And with this we will come to our fourth and last parameter, that is expense ratio, and lower the value of this expense ratio is better for the investors. And here we are going to analyze the expense ratio of direct plan of this top 5 multi-cap fund, and on number 1 we have Mahindra Manulife multi-cap fund with least expense ratio of 0.49%. Quant active fund is on number 2 with expense ratio of 0.58%. On number 3 we have Invesco India multi-cap fund with expense ratio of 0.65%. And on number 4 we have ICICI Prudential multi-cap fund with expense ratio of 1.02% of direct plan, which is too high. And finally at number 5 we have Nippon India multi-cap fund with highest expense ratio in this top 5 multi-cap fund with expense ratio of direct plan at 1.12%. And finally, by combining the results of all these 4 parameters together, the final ranking of this top 5 multi-cap fund will be like this. So based on this analysis, on number 1 we have Quant Active Fund in multi-cap fund category. On number 2 we have Nippon India multi-cap fund. On number 3 we have Mahindra Manulife multi-cap fund. On number 4th we have ICICI Prudential multi-cap fund. And on number 5th we have Invesco India multi-cap fund. So now with the help of this analysis, we know that Quant Active Fund is the best multi-cap fund in 2023 for investment, and to include this fund in your investment portfolio or not will solely depend on the entire portfolio and the overlapping of your portfolio with this fund. And my personal suggestion will be this, that if you want to invest in Quant Active Fund, you must invest in the direct plan of this fund and save on commissions. To invest in direct plan of Quant Active Fund, you need to log in Angel One app, and the dashboard of Angel One app looks like this. And here you need to click on this mutual fund icon, and on the next page on the top right hand side corner a search bar is there. You need to click on that particular search bar, and here you need to type the fund name and click on the direct plan growth of this fund. And on the next page, all the information related to Quant Active Fund will appear on your mobile screen. And after that, for investing in this particular mutual fund, you just need to click on this invest button. And then on the next screen, you need to enter the SIP or lump sum amount in this mutual fund. And here we are going to start a SIP in this mutual fund. And for that, you need to click on the start SIP button. And after that, the bank account which is linked to your Demat account, you can pay via internet banking, UPI or Google Pay. And if you are going to select UPI, you need to enter the UPI ID and click on the proceed button. And the moment you click on the proceed button, your SIP will start in this mutual fund.